100 years ago, King Rome selected elite warriors from throughout Hyrule to stand against the Calamity Ganon. In addition to the Sacred Princess and the Hylian chosen by the Master Sword, one fighter with unique abilities was chosen from each of the Hyrulean races. The 4 champions being Mipha of the Zora, Revali of the Rito, Urbosa of the Gerudo, and Daruk of the Goron. These 4 champions are some of the most well-known characters in the whole Legend of Zelda franchise, and for good reason. Each one of these characters is completely unique, and they are all one major plot point when it comes to Breath of the Wild's story. But is there more to them than meets the eye? Every champion is supposed to complement the story in some different way. From Urbosa's wisdom to Revali's arrogance, each champion has a different part to play in this story. And not only the story of Breath of the Wild, but Tears of the Kingdom as well. So, if you haven't guessed it already, this video is specifically about the 4 champions. I don't want to really talk about their personalities or character traits specifically, but more about what they do for the lore and how they progress the story. So, why don't we start with the calm, caring Zora princess herself. Princess Mipha is King Dorephan's daughter. She was selected as one of the champions due to her special ability to heal others' wounds. She is kind and soft-spoken, but deep down she is also incredibly strong. She fights to protect her people and all of the people of Hyrule as the chosen pilot of the divine beast Vah Ruta. On the day of the Great Calamity, she was attacked in the divine beast by Water Blight Ganon and lost her life. She is doomed to remain trapped there in spirit form until Link slays the demon that took her life. Now, I know for a fact you either adore Mipha or you hate her guts. And I'm on the adore side. From one side of the argument, you could just see her as the plain love interest other than Zelda. I think that's why some people hate her. They don't want another love interest. And it is a distraction for the main plot between Link and Zelda. However, I will support my girl Mipha and say that she has a lot to do with the story other than being just the second love interest. I think better than the other 3 champions, Mipha is the one that sets the tone for the story the best. She has the player finally realize the destruction that Calamity Ganon caused. Mipha helps the player understand the sorrow that came from the death of the 4 champions. And I think the reason that she does it so well is because of the people that she left behind. Being the Zora people, her father, but most importantly, Prince Sidon. Unlike the other 3 champions, we have direct relatives from Mipha herself, so it allows us as players to see how her death affected people. I mean, when you meet Sidon for the first time in-game, one of the first things he asks you is if you remember Mipha. Above all the others in the game, Mipha represents loss. Not only does she represent the people that were lost during Calamity Ganon, but also the spirit and the hope that was lost with it. After you save Mipha, she even explains to you how she had just succumbed to the idea of being trapped in her divine beast for all eternity, which in itself is a horrifying idea. But the fact that she did have to succumb to that explains the tragedy of it all. If Mipha returns for Tears of the Kingdom, I bet she will play a big part in helping the story progress. Tears of the Kingdom seems to be a lot more tragic and dark as compared to its first game, and I think Mipha is to thank for a little preview of that in Breath of the Wild. Urbosa has the ability to control lightning itself, and because of that amazing power, she was chosen as the Gerudo champion. She has a dignified demeanor befitting a Gerudo warrior, but also has a softer side, acting like an older sister and being a gentle support to those around her. She piloted the divine beast Vah Naboris, but fell to Thunderblight Ganon. Like the other pilots, her spirit is trapped in the divine beast and awaits the coming of the hero to free her. Urbosa, in terms of how she progresses the story, is one of the easier ones to talk about. But she's one of the ones I'm more passionate to talk about too. Her character is all about balance. Urbosa has the ability to be rough and stern, but she balances it with her ability to be relaxed and kind. Lead artist Hirohito Shinoda says, "She exudes the tough beauty of the Gerudo as well as a mom with moxie. I took extra care exploring how to make her outfit look fitting for someone of her station. A person an ordinary Gerudo would look up to." And to their credit, it works! It really does work. Urbosa is a rock of the story. In this situation, she is Zelda's rock. There are two parallels to two different parents here, one being Urbosa and one being something I'll talk about later. But Urbosa is obviously a parallel to Zelda's mother. We get a better idea with this in the Champion's Ballad DLC, in both the diary entry that Urbosa has and with the cutscene. I think Urbosa's main purpose and motive as a character was to develop Zelda more. I mean, some of the scenes that we see Zelda at her most vulnerable, or even just most like herself, are the scenes with Urbosa. I think while Mipha's character is supposed to signify loss, Urbosa is the personification of that urgent feeling in a dire situation when you want to protect the ones that you care about. She helps the player sympathize with Zelda more. Mipha is more of a parallel to Zelda's character, but I think Urbosa is more of a tool to help Zelda progress in the story. I really hope with Tears of the Kingdom that we get more insight on how Urbosa and Zelda's mother knew each other, because we all know that Zelda's mother is still one big mystery. Revali is a particularly skilled Rito warrior who was chosen as a champion. He developed the ability to generate updrafts to propel himself into the sky. He is prideful and has absolute faith in his own abilities, which is why he was so unsatisfied that Link was chosen to stand against Calamity Ganon instead of him. He was chosen to pilot the divine beast Botw, but was attacked, killed, and had his soul imprisoned in the beast by Windblight Ganon. Revali is such a bittersweet champion, and I think that's why he's my favorite. He helps develop the story more by showing us the struggles that come with being titled champion. In Revali's mind, he has always been a champion, and he should have been the champion to defeat Calamity Ganon in the end. And when told he wasn't, well, that kind of sent a shock down his spine. When I first saw Revali's cutscene in Breath of the Wild, I kind of hated him. And who wouldn't? He was some overconfident, arrogant guy. But as the plot moves on and the game continues, we see his true colors kind of blossom. He's extremely insecure, he has all this self-doubt weighed on his shoulders. And the whole point of this character arc was to show how Calamity Ganon affected people. For Mipha, it was the people she left behind. For Urbosa, it was Zelda, but for Revali, it's his own self-worth. Because at first, Calamity Ganon to Revali is some game. It's something that he wants to win. But in his final moments, he is scared and he is weak. The whole point of his character is to give some humanity to the people that were affected by Calamity Ganon. And for all four of the champions, not only did it affect them, but it took their lives as well. Daruk has the special ability to create a force field around himself to defend against all manner of attacks. Because of this power, he was selected to be a champion. Though he may appear gruff, he is tremendously kind. He fondly calls Link little guy while also acknowledging his unparalleled skills. Daruk was chosen to pilot the divine beast Vah Rudania, but before he could bring the beast's power to bear on Calamity Ganon, he was attacked by Fireblight Ganon and killed, his spirit sealed within Vah Rudania. Remember how earlier I said that there were two parent parallels? I don't care if this is a hot take, but I do believe that Daruk is supposed to be a parallel for Link's father, or at least a big brother figure. Listen, I get it's a weird opinion, but let me explain. In almost all of Daruk's cutscenes, he is talking about Link, or hanging out with Link, or just doing friendly activities with Link. He respects him, he knows of his worth. Daruk, compared to the other three champions, has a larger understanding of what Link is going through. He knows that the sword that Link carries on his back is a burden, but Daruk is willing to put down his life in order to protect Hyrule, and he relates with Link on that willingness to protect his homeland. What I said about Urbosa being to Zelda, Daruk is to Link. And the whole point of his character is to establish that relationship with Link. Just like how Urbosa is supposed to develop Zelda, Daruk is supposed to develop Link so that we understand him more. Link is no longer just the silent hero. No, he has feelings and thoughts and worries of his own. And if we didn't have characters like Zelda or Daruk to show us that, then we wouldn't have a very compelling main character. Each of the 4 champions show a different way the Great Calamity affects people. For Daruk, it's showing that he is willing to lay down his life for Hyrule and for the people that he cares most about. A true act of selfless love for Hyrule and the goddess Hylia. The 4 champions of Breath of the Wild are a major plot point for the game, but when it comes to how it affects characters, the people who play the game, and the story itself, they are much more complicated than I think we all believe. They each help develop the story in their own way. I am a firm believer that Breath of the Wild would not be as complex and beautiful as it is without these 4 characters, and the 2 main protagonists themselves would not have been as well developed or well understood by the players of the game without them. The 4 champions help the story to be compelling, tragic, and beautifully written. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did making it. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment down below. See you guys in the next one.